Hey, what's going on, guys? So in today's video, I want to kind of continue a conversation I had a month or so ago where I talked about the potential of teenage Boruto, but in this video, I want to talk about the potential of teenage Sarada, and I think that that's really important. I think that's really important that we have this conversation because I was thinking about who Sarada's parents are. And yes, parents, that means that I'm referring to Sakura Haruno or Sarada Uchiha, depending on which last name you want to give her. But I was thinking about that and I was like, well, she's already gotten the Sharingan from Sasuke, and she's clearly gotten Sakura's ability for immense chakra control because we've seen her being able to release all of her chakra at a fixed point in her fist in order to use that superhuman strength that we've seen, which is confirmed to be high level chakra control. So that means that she's gotten that natural aptitude from Sakura to pick up chakra control really easily. And you can pass down an aptitude to your kids, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna immediately pick up on it. It just means that it makes it easier for them to kind of pick up on that. Chakra control isn't a gene, but passing down that aptitude to learn it is something you can do. And so when you look at that, I think that when you take into consideration the fact that Sarada at 16 years old, which during the events of the flash forward fight between Boruto and Kawaki, which is 4 years after the Momoshiki arc, during those events, you're gonna have Sarada who's 16, or if we go closer in the timeline and more accurately in the timeline, she's gonna be 16 getting ready to turn 17 because she was born in March. And so when you look at that, this should be a Sarada Uchiha who is a lot more powerful, is a lot more skilled, but given her chakra control's already at the level that it is, I think that we could see a scenario where Sarada could be built to where she surpasses Itachi. And I know somebody's like, wait, how does someone with Sakura's genes surpass Itachi? Have you lost your mind? Clickbaiting liar! I get it. But see, the thing is when you look at the fact that Sarada is a half-blooded Uchiha, and I've talked about this in a couple other videos, but because she's a half-blooded Uchiha, she suffers from the same problem that Izumi Uchiha, the person that Itachi was in love with, who was also a half-blooded Uchiha because her mother married someone from outside of the Uchiha clan, and that weakened her genes to where she couldn't keep the Sharingan active for a prolonged period of time. And so it killed her stamina basically when she had to use the Sharingan. And Sarada has some of those same problems. And so when you look at that and you look at the chakra control, I do think that what we could see is Sarada has the Sharingan's ability to use Sharingan Genjutsu, but the other thing with Genjutsu is, like, depending on your chakra control, when you stack that on top of it, you could see Sarada using some really complex Genjutsu because of her chakra control being able to maximize the amount of chakra that she's using, and you add in the Sharingan. I really feel as if we could see a scenario where she's built up to be that Itachi of her generation, where she's just a beast when it comes to Sharingan Genjutsu. Now I know some people are like, well, Shisui was better at it. I get it, but Shisui was like a walking cheat code. He's an exception to the rule. Anybody who has perfect hypnosis to a point where it makes you think that you're doing stuff of your own will, that's just broken. I don't think Sarada's gonna get anything to that point, but I do think that Itachi is a better milestone, and building her to be a character more like Itachi and less like Sasuke could be something really interesting because it would show that she's a very cerebral fighter. And I think that when you look at Team Boruto, I think that's absolutely what you need to have happen. Because when you look at Team Boruto, like, Boruto in the manga does strategize quite a bit, but in the anime, it's kind of like he's got some of that Naruto in him, where Boruto thinks things through. He's pretty smart, but at the same time, he's more likely to go with his emotions and go with his gut, right? And I think in Team Boruto, you need that strategist, that person kind of like with Shikadai, who is able to think 27 steps ahead. I think that you need to have Sarada be at that same point because Itachi is a freaking brilliant fighter. And most importantly, he is very observant. And I think that Team Boruto could could benefit from that, because you basically have two powerhouses with Mitsuki with the Sage mode, and with Boruto with that Karma Seal and the Jogan Eye and everything else they're probably going to give this guy. But I think that having Sarada have that could be that balance, could provide that balance to the new Team 7. Now, the other thing is when you talk about teenage Sarada and you talk about the fact that she's 17 or 16, getting ready to turn 17 by the events of the Boruto versus Kawaki fight, if she hasn't already awakened the mangekyou Sharingan, then I feel like that'd be probably the perfect opportunity for her to awaken it. And I did a video over on Anime Balls Deep's channel talking about Sarada's mangekyou Sharingan, which I'll leave a link in the description box to it and probably in the end credits as well. But I did a video over on his channel co-starring with him, and we kind of talked about that, and there's a bunch of different theories in that video. But what I found very interesting is reading the comments on that. A lot of people thought that having Sakura die would be really interesting, to have Sarada awaken the mangekyou. And I think however that happens, I think that it's a given we do need to see Sarada with the mangekyou Sharingan by that point, because you guys know, like, the mangekyou does give you that ability to use the Susanoo if you awaken it in both eyes, and Sarada's probably going to have some insane, super insane mangekyou Sharingan ability. And I think that it would be really cool, given that both of her parents have a natural affinity for genjutsu, and Sarada used genjutsu right after she got the Sharingan in the anime, and she used it in the Mist arc, and she used genjutsu as a way to win her fight. If she got a genjutsu like ability where that's her mangekyou Sharingan's ability, like with Shisui it was Koto Matsukami, with Fugaku it was a really intense hypnosis, with Itachi we all know it was Tsukiyomi. I think that it'd be really cool if we got a genjutsu special focused attack for Sarada. I think that'd be really cool. Now, the other thing is when we start talking about the mangekyou Sharingan, that ultimately leads to whether or not she should learn the Byakugo seal, where she's able to use the Strength of 100 Healings Jutsu in order to repair any damage that could be done to her mangekyou Sharingan. And I think that for the purposes of Sarada, I think that you do need to have that moment where she does suffer some damage, because Sarada is such a smart enough fighter that once she starts realizing that she's damaging her eyes by using the mangekyou Sharingan, as a reader and as a viewer, we're gonna know that when she goes to that mangekyou, things have gotten super serious, and she's such a brilliant strategist that she's gonna put off with using that Sharingan unless she absolutely has to. And that's something that you see now, because of the physical strain that the Sharingan puts on her body, because she isn't a full-blooded Uchiha. Because of that strain, she doesn't spam the Sharingan like Sasuke did. And I think that is something interesting, because essentially they've nerfed Sarada, but they've done it in a way to build her up in order to be better. And I think that'd be really cool. And I think that with the character of Sarada Uchiha, if she's handled correctly, then we could actually see what a full-powered Itachi would be, because she's got some of the same issues that Itachi had, but she's got some of the same pluses as well. And I think that that could be an opportunity. I think that that'd be really cool, and I think that it would be really good to have Sarada kind of go that route. Now, the final thing I want to ask you guys when it comes to teenage Sarada is, do you think that she needs to learn another change in chakra nature? Because as an Uchiha, she has a natural affinity for fire release, but she's a character who wants to become Hokage. She wants to gain that power. She wants to gain that acknowledgement. She wants to gain that respect. The whole thing with being Hokage is you have to be the strongest ninja in the village. Do you think she needs to have a super powerful change in chakra nature jutsu? And if you think that's the case, what elemental ninjutsu would you want Sarada to learn? And do you think that she should learn that, or do you think that she should focus on genjutsu? And if Sarada were to get the mangekyou Sharingan, what specific jutsu would you give her? Would you give her space-time manipulation, being able to rewind time? What jutsu would you give Sarada specifically for mangekyou Sharingan? If you don't want to get caught lacking out here in these Konoha streets, then make sure you subscribe and join the Senju squad, and make sure you hit that bell so you never miss out on the Naruto/Boruto content on the channel, and never forget that Senju DNA is love and Senju DNA is life.